Welcome to the Platinum Agent Podcast, where gold is just the beginning. I'm Renee Ruth, top producing agent, global real estate educator, and, believe it or not, a 2025 Grammy nominee. But today I'm here to help you hit the highest level in real estate. This is the Agent to Agent podcast designed to help you grow, scale, and reach platinum status in your business. Expect powerful strategies, expert insights, and real conversations about what it takes to dominate in real estate. And of course, I'm not doing this alone. My co-host Joshua is here too. He may not talk much, he is a dog after all, but he's got a nose for success and a talent for keeping me on track. So if you're ready to stop playing small and start thinking bigger, hit that subscribe button and let's go platinum together. Welcome to Platinum Agent Podcast. My name is Renee Ruth and I'm your host. I am a 6-time icon agent at eXp Realty, and I believe in creating a podcast where we can share insider strategies, do some mindset coaching, which we're going to get a bit of that today, and have some expert interviews so you know how to elevate your business. And today I get to do that with Amy Casanova. She's a seasoned real estate professional based in Kingman, Arizona, with 12 years of experience, 43 transactions in this past year, which is huge because last year the average agent sold one. And she is a Keller Williams agent working with Arizona Living Realty. Welcome to the call. I'm so happy.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, so much. Okay, so I always ask, most of us are not like, we didn't graduate high school and go, let me be a real estate agent. So tell me, how did you get into our incredible business?
So I actually got into it by a friend. So I was working for the state of Arizona. I did not like my job. It's government work. It's very boring. It's very passionless. And a friend of mine was a broker, and she said, you need to explore real estate. You need to get into it. You would be amazing. And I was like, oh, commission-based, that's really scary. Of course, I think that's how everybody feels in the beginning. And I was really hesitant, but I thought I'd give it a shot. She said, hey, I'll pay for your real estate school. You got nothing to lose. So I said, okay. So I showed up. I went to the first day. My class was on the weekend. So my first class was on a Saturday. I literally quit my job and said, I'm not doing anything different. This is what I want to do. So that was back in 2013, and I haven't looked back since.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So I was the same way. Like I was in a business teaching university in a business. I was teaching university, and I literally earned my salary in 3 months, like I earned. And I was like, I found a new calling. So Tell us about your area, because I know you'd mentioned that you have a smaller market. Explain to me, especially coming in brand new, like how did that work in a smaller market? What have you seen in a smaller market?
So where I live is very rural, and I think that's hard for people to truly understand. So I have my city, and then there's 50 miles of desert, no matter where you go. We're very spread out. I sell in Mojave County, which is actually the 5th largest county geographically in the country. So it's very spread out. And there's only about 100,000 people in my area that I service. My town specifically that I live in is only about 40,000 people. So it's a smaller, but it gives us the opportunity to really stand out, because in my MLS, there's only 300 of us, actually not even. So we're really small. And so it gives us the opportunity to really build those strong relationships with people and to know hyperlocal, know all those little tiny nuances that you're going to know in your tiny little town. So it just gives us definitely an advantage. And I think a lot of people sleep on smaller markets. They see it as a lower price point or just not as busy, but I think that's quite the contrary.
So it's interesting you're meeting me because I'm in a market that's got 80,000 residents and there's 2,000 agents. So
oh gosh. Yes. Oh, there's a lot more agents.
So you're meeting a fellow smaller market agent, and I loved it because I was able to grow. Explain how because I truly think that what you did, here's where I think you have an advantage, because what you did in your smaller market to scale your business, if you were to go to a bigger market, you could duplicate that. I think it'd be harder for someone in a big market to come to a smaller market. So share the wisdom that you have on how you went from zero, right, to scale in your business.
So I would love to tell you that it was all strategy, and like I had this very planned out but that wasn't how it happened. Honestly, it was hard work. It was follow through and a strong work ethic, calling people back, answering my phone, being available, just those like really bare basic things that my parents instilled in me of just working hard. And when I would make promises, I would follow through with those promises, and I cared about people. And I think that showed. People would tell me all the time, you're very genuine. in and you're not trying to sell me anything. No, I'm trying to be there for you and I'm trying to help you in whatever your goals are. And so I think people seen that, and that's what led to a lot of referral business. So like my first year was slow, but I made a lot of connects and a lot of contacts, and then that grew and grew and grew. And then obviously in a small market, people would start to talk about it. Oh, I had a great agent that, and then they start spreading the word for you just because you literally took care of them.
Oh my gosh, that's so powerful. That's what I've always said is that I think answering your phone is one of the biggest things that agents like they say we get paid so much, but we're attached to that phone. Like we
Yeah.
respond at 6 a.m., we respond at 11 p.m. So share with me if you don't mind, like what specific things have you done to create exceptional, because it sounds like you've developed a great client care. What have you done to create like that exceptional experience for your clients?
It's about having good resources, knowing who the good vendors are and who the bad ones are, knowing who the contractors are that are going to show up, and knowing being that resource and telling people all the time, asking for the referral, which I think a lot of times people miss. They think, oh, they'll just send me their, no, you need to ask for it. And then also telling people, hey, I'm a resource. So if you need something, give me a call. And knowing that I'll answer my phone, and then I will be there through. I had somebody that called me and they had an issue after closing. So I tell people, I'm still here for you. Like, just because I've gotten paid doesn't mean our relationship ends. I'm still here for you. And so that was a way that they would reach out to me and say, hey, I had this problem. Can you help me out? Absolutely. And showing up to their house, because we're also a second home market because we have snowbirds here. And so people will call me and say, hey, my neighbor called me and my alarm's going off at my house. My smoke alarms are going off. Can you go check it out? Absolutely. I'm like, I'm going to be there to go look at it, go check it out, report back to you. Just those type of things is what really set me apart. And then and I would ask for the referral. Hey, if you have family or friends that are moving into this area, oh yeah, they love Kingman, they want to come here. Absolutely, give them my number. And that's really what helped too, was just asking for those referrals. I do good follow up through, like, a large percentage of my business is past clients, and I have a system that I touch base with my clients about every 6 months or a year, depending on the client, and just remind them who I am, ask them how I can provide them more value, and just saying, hey, how can I continue to be your agent throughout the years?
Okay, so I love that very specific task is reaching out to past clients
Yeah.
maybe twice a year and saying, "Hey, how can I provide value for you?" So it's not
Yeah.
like the ask is actually, "How can I help?" And it's above and beyond because you're not having the deal's over. Your ask comment made me think about a book I read. I just looked it up while you were talking. It's called Ask: The Bridge from Your Dreams to Your Destiny. And it's by Mark Victor Hansen. If you have not read that book,
I will have, I'll add it to my
I
list.
yeah, ask. I'll say we'll drop it in the notes. But I literally coach all the agents. I'm like, you have to ask for the things that you want from people. And
Yeah.
what's crazy is we don't want to do that because we feel like it's too much. Or I don't know, fear really probably is the
Yeah.
big hang up. When do you ask for the referral? Because that's a great, like the referral conversation, there's companies built on
Yeah.
Bold and all those guys that talk about like how to fill up your referral. What's your strategy for that? When do you ask? How often do you ask? What's your strategy?
So I follow up about 2 weeks to 30 days or 2 weeks after close. And it's just a touch base. And that's like my first touch point after they close. I don't want to be there when they're moving. There's a lot going on at that point. So I like let them settle in. And then that's usually when I present like a closing gift and I just touch base with them. And that's when I ask for the first time. Hey, if you know anybody that's moving into the area, or have you heard anything about anybody leaving the area that maybe could use my services, that how can I help? So that's the first time. But then I ask every single time I talk to them afterwards. So every follow-up call, every 6 months or a year, depending on the client, I'm asking again then.
So that's so powerful because I think we sometimes think that you want to ask them later. Wait,
Right.
like I'll ask them in 2 or 3 months. And I think even maybe while the deal's going on, but especially if they're happy with what's happening.
Yeah, because right then that's like they're still riding that high, moving into a new area and moving into their new house and getting settled in. Like it's a chaos, but it's a really usually good chaos. And so that's a good time to ask because it's also very fresh in their memory.
Yes, I appreciate the referral ideas because I think that's something we don't learn this. You don't go to school for this
No, you
stuff.
don't learn it.
Right? Share with us a little bit, if you don't mind, on how you've created like the brand for yourself. Because I know branding is such a big deal now in real estate. You can work for whatever company you work for, but like, how did you create a brand that made you recognizable for clients? Especially you're serving sounds like two snowbirds and then locals. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. So we have there's two major cities in the areas that I cover. One is definitely more snowbirds because it's a very hot area. So the snowbirds love it because it's 60 degrees all winter. And so they love it. The other area is more focused on locals. There are more people, families moving into our area and things like that. And it's a little bit of a cooler area. So the snowbirds aren't as attracted to it. But yeah, so it's about as far as creating a brand, it's really just about adding your brand onto everything. And I understand, like, I'm very specific about what I post on social media. I'm a part of many of us are, of local pages. I'm very careful about anything I post on there to try not to make sure that I'm not offending anybody. I know that sounds so bad, but it's really the truth. I really want people to know that I'm here as an expert, but I'm also a professional. And that is how I run how I dress in my day to day, even how I present myself as I'm walking through a Walmart. I'm always understanding that, like, it sounds so bad, like I'm not a celebrity, but I treat myself as if I'm under a microscope, and I want people to look at me as a professional. And people will ask me, because I live in a very small rural retirement town, people are very casual here. And because I dress very professional, I'll get people that will ask me all the time, are you a lawyer? What do you do that you're dressed like this? No, I'm just a real estate agent that takes my profession very seriously.
Share a quick story. I was showing a property last night, and the woman came out next door. And she's, "Are you the one trying to buy?" I said, "Oh no." And she goes, "You're an agent." She goes,
Yeah.
"No." She's, "You look fancy."
Yeah, yeah, I get told all the time because I wear heels a lot. Oh, why are you so dressed up? I'm like, I'm not. This is just how I look.
Out of the business. All right,
Yeah,
let's shift to, thank you for that. Let's shift topics. So we're in a really crazy market. Like it feels like we're in constant flux right
for
now.
sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right
Right?
now.
Politics, name it, right? Can you share some of the mindset things that you're doing or working with that are helping you move through, because pivot through the shifting market?
I was told so I got in 2013. The market was just shifting forward. It was shifting up, but I didn't know any different because I was in real estate and I had just gotten in, so I didn't have any prior experience. I actually really enjoyed that part of the market. And so I think for me, the biggest thing is I don't allow fear to dictate my day to day. And I think that's a big problem with a lot of agents is they lead by a lot of fear. Oh gosh, if the market shifts, I'm gonna lose my business. No, create a system and strategy and habits today so that those won't change. Because I can't control the market, neither can anybody. But what we can control is things we do on our day to day that are those habits, calls and follow ups and touching base with past clients, client events or open houses or whatever it is that you do in your market. That's what I do control, is just what I do on my day to day and keep my consistency. And it gives me the opportunity to really, I guess it's like I'm keeping myself really busy, but in a positive way. Like I'm not just doing things that don't matter, I'm doing the things that actually matter the most. And that's really what helps keep my mind focused in real estate, but also knowing that, because every day we wake up unemployed, right? Like we don't know what that day is going to hold. And so by just focusing on my day to day and keeping myself just not letting fear dictate what's going to happen with interest rates or at the White House or whatever. Those are things I can control. So I focus on what I can control. Stay in motion, keep moving.
I love that idea of motion too. So you mentioned something. I'm going to drill down a little if I
Yeah.
can. So you mentioned that system strategies, like what is daily habits? Okay, so share with us. This is the question I get asked, especially by newer agents all the time. What do you do every day? So
Yeah.
what
Sure.
have you done in your business that you've created a system that you can withstand? And then we'll get back to the mindset piece.
Okay. So for me, I still make my calls every day. I still create lead gen every day. Not that lead gen is the same every day, but I do make sure that I'm making my calls and touching base with my database because I believe that there is a lot of money in my database. And so I make sure that I'm going through that and touching the people that need to be there. Because how many times have we made phone calls and somebody says, "Oh, I bought last month." And so of course, we can't avoid that 100%, but that's my strategy, is just making calls every day. And that's my big consistency. The other thing is I tend to really not try to book any appointments before about 11 a.m. I allow that morning time to be emails and lead gen. So it's get in the morning, check email, check the MLS, and then from that point, it's like just lead gen, follow-ups, and then usually some sort of social media videos or planning out the rest of my day.
I love that. Okay, and then I love something else you said about mindset and fear and that we create. Okay, so I've always
Yeah.
told people in our business, you get it's so cool because you have the opportunity every single day to create something that didn't exist.
Right. Yeah.
What mindset hacks do you have that you're implementing to control? Because the news bombards us, our
Sure.
bombard us, family, you're never going to survive. The market is dying. Realtors won't exist in another 10 years.
Yeah.
You know the things.
Yeah. It's just, I think for me, it's understanding that I have the ability to adapt quickly and that I just double down on what works, focusing on what does work and knowing what works in my business and what I enjoy doing. And because if you enjoy doing it, you're going to do more of it. So that's really, it's just about really honing in on what I'm good at, what I enjoy doing, and what do I want to do more at, and then double down on those things and say, okay. And that's really what helps keep my mindset positive. I think too, environment has a lot to do with it. I work in a very positive environment. Everybody here is very supportive. I have a very large group of girl agents that we go to dinner, and once a month we have craft nights. We do things like that together, which obviously really helps because real estate is not for the faint of heart, and having a tribe behind you when you are like thinking, okay, it's all falling apart, and having somebody saying, no, it's not, you're fine. This is just a moment. Take a breather and you're going to get right back on and keep going forward. And I think that's what helps too.
I have the same kind of environment where I feel like in my office, I feel like I have to shelter the agents. I'm like,
Yeah.
remember, we only talk about positive things. We leave everything else
Right.
where that really matters.
Yes.
As much business as you did last year, because I know I did similar numbers. Let's shift to burnout is a big issue for agents, especially, and everyone's point of burnout is different. It's so relative, right? Someone could be doing 10 deals a year and feel burnout. So what are your burnout, like how do you balance to keep yourself growing and sane?
Sure. And we're on call, right? Like literally, no, okay, not 24/7, but we're on call a lot, like probably 18 hours or maybe slightly less, but we're on call a lot. So burnout is very real. Somebody said something to me one time and it's totally changed my mindset around burnout. And that was that you're not burnout, you're bored with what you're doing. You've reached a new level of your mind is bored and you're ready for your next challenge, and it totally changed my mind. And so now when I feel like I'm getting to that point of burnout, I realize I'm not burnout, I'm ready for my next challenge. I've mastered what I'm already doing and I'm ready to explore something new. I'm ready to level up. I'm ready to take on a new challenge or a routine, something like that. I'm ready to shift gears or set my goals bigger. I've met my goals and I'm bored with my goals. I'm ready to set my goals bigger. And so that always ignites me and gets me excited about the next thing. And so that's what I do to get through burnout. Because I know everybody experiences, some people don't even know that they're experiencing it. But I know it's like when I don't want to come into the office, I'm like, okay, I'm probably going through a little bit of burnout. And then I sit down, I say, okay, what am I doing now? And what is a goal that I keep putting off that I now am going to say, this is going to be my priority? This is going to be a goal that I'm going to hit in the next 3 months or whatever that goal looks like.
I think something reigniting those goals too can reinvigorate your business. Do you have any
Absolutely.
boundaries that you set during the day so that you're not working 24/7? Do you have a Please laugh.
I would love to tell you yes, but no, I'm terrible. I'm not one of those people like, you need to shut your phone off. No, I don't do that. Because honestly, it stresses me out. If I turn my phone on and I have a bunch of notifications, I'm like, oh my gosh, because I've probably coined myself as I'm always going to be there for you. I want to follow through with that. So it's just easier for me to handle things at the time. I'm terrible about, but I will say I answer my phone late at night, but I really don't have, I know people like my clients will call me at 2 a.m. I don't have that. Like my clients are always very respectful of my time. In fact, sometimes a little too much. Oh, I didn't want to call you. I'm like, it's 5:30. They're like, yeah, but you don't work past 5. I'm like, yeah, I do. Oh, I don't want to call you because it's Saturday. Like, you can call me on Saturday. I don't really, but again, I rarely ever receive calls outside of really about 8 to 6. So sometimes a client will text me or send me an email or something like that, and I'll respond. But no, not really.
I think sometimes too, when you meet them, people just want to know what to expect, right? So like
Sure.
with my clients, I'm always like, hey guys, listen, like around 8 o'clock, I'm calling it quits. And if,
Yeah.
if it's an emergency, please call. So it's
Right.
I'm always there. But if it can wait till 8 a.m., that'd be cool. That
And
might be
most
the
time
only
it can.
boundary I set just so that there isn't that like revolving. I think anyone that's got people calling at 2 a.m. haven't had that conversation. And I don't think that's like aggressive. I think that's just, hey, common decency.
Yeah. And I think too, with me, like oftentimes things can be addressed before they spiral. So sometimes it's easier to, especially if we've all had that client that's just an overthinker that tends to get onto these spiral trains and just derails themselves. And sometimes if you could just get them on the phone, even if it is sometimes at night, just having that conversation and calming them down. And I don't know how many times they'll say, I feel so much better. I felt like I wasn't going to get any sleep tonight, but I feel so much better now. And sometimes it's just easier to address those right then and there. Okay, I'm going to step away from my family for a minute and just let me get this client calmed down. They're upset about something and they just want to talk, and it's not rare. It's not often that happens. It's pretty rare, but sometimes it's just easier to address it right then and there.
That might be why you don't get the 2 a.m. calls, because you're hitting them.
Yeah, because I'm probably addressing them at 8 p.m. versus letting them stay up
or
all
you're
night.
checking the issue ahead of time. Like sometimes I'm looking for what could become a stressor for them. So I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, here's what's coming next. We're doing a septic inspection. Here's all the things that could happen, and we're gonna be
Sure.
cool. Like no matter what, we'll stay in, we'll get out. Like you're good.
Probably something I didn't even think about, but yeah, setting that expectation up front of, even like with home inspections, I always warn my clients, like, hey, you're going to get a home inspection. It's going to be 80 pages. It doesn't matter if it's brand new construction, they're going to find stuff. Like there's never been one that I've come back that the inspector's like, I didn't find anything. Like that doesn't happen. And so they're like, oh, okay. Or hey, on a final walkthrough with new construction, you're going to find little things that are going to be wrong with the home. Sometimes they're big and oftentimes they're super tiny. Understand that's normal, and the contractor will fix it, and I'll move on with our lives. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they already have that expectation when they go in and realize that there's a chunk missing out of the baseboard. They're not panicked.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in one right now and it's septic, and he's never owned a septic. And so now he's ChatGPT and Googling like everything about a septic system, and he's coming back with this inane list, and just he's panicked. So it's like talking them into reminding them like, hey, if you search on the internet, everything's dying.
Yeah.
Nothing works and everything's broken.
Right.
We need to trust the professionals. That's why we hire them. So we need to trust them. And it's just education is such a big piece, I think, of our business. What are the things that you do to educate your clients so that they're prepared in your market?
I think that's just experience with me, like literally just me. I'm like, hey, this is how the next step is going to go. Let me explain it to you. And then being there throughout that, and then also asking those questions up front of knowing how many homes they bought in the past, have they bought recently. If they've bought in the last 5 years, they're pretty well versed in how the system works, because it hasn't made too many changes in the last 5 years. But if it's been 30 years since they bought a home, they're basically a new first-time home buyer again. And so it's just about knowing that and saying, okay, so here's how the next step is going to go. Or if they're really from a vastly different area, knowing that, hey, this is how we do things here, and this is totally normal. Our ground is really hard here. It's basically like concrete. So they don't do things if you lived you live in the South, right?
East Coast, yeah.
Oh, East. Okay. So you have a lot more moisture in your ground. We have none. And so they'll say, oh, especially if they're coming from somewhere like Illinois or the Midwest, they're like, they didn't compact the ground hard enough. I'm like, no, that's normal. That's okay. Like every house is built this way. And this is how they've been doing it for literally decades, because our ground is literally like concrete and they don't really need to. So it's just about explaining people up front what they're probably not have experienced before. Or like I hear you don't get keys at the closing table. And so it's just even those little things like, hey, I know in your state, you get your keys at closing table. We don't do that here. So let me explain to you the difference. And that's just how we do it. And
see, I didn't even know that, because they get keys at closing here. So what we struggle with here is that disclosures. So Virginia is a buyer beware state. Our disclosures have almost nothing on it. If I get a Pennsylvania client, their disclosures are 30, 40 pages long. Like the seller has to document everything they've ever done to that house. So they're used to a book, and then they come here, they are upset.
Yeah, sure.
Like coaching them through, okay, I understand, but here's how we mitigate that here, and here's how this is a win. Sometimes it's reframing and just getting them. Sometimes it's a new build situation, because that's the only way they're going to feel comfortable, because there's not 60 years of proof of what happened to the house.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good thing, is knowing what other states are how they do things differently in different states. And so that when somebody's moving from a different state, we have a lot of people that move here from California. So I've over the years learned how California operates. And so I can combat that. Like I know the last time you bought a house, even if it was last year, but it was in a different state, that's how they do it there. We don't do that here. They have in the California, they have a 3-day right of rescission. So literally you can close escrow and then say, yeah, I don't want this house, and reverse everything. So I've had to tell people, yeah, it's shocking, right? So I've had to tell people multiple times, like, hey, we don't have that. Close of escrow happens. It's closed. It's yours. Like, the only way to get rid of this house is to sell it. Turn around, put it back on the market. Like, it's yours. And because I've had people that have said, hey, I want to reverse the contract. I'm like, what? So it's just about doing so many transactions and learning what people are going to say, and then taking that bit of information with you for your next transaction so you can warn your next client, which is just pure experience.
And that is what I tell everybody. There's no book on how to do our business, because every time we do a deal, our knowledge grows. So there's just, so you are paying in some cases for experience, because they've got
Absolutely.
huge amount of wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so now if you were to share kind of one thing or a handful of things to agents that are in smaller markets, what would you empower them to do to become successful in their market that they could start doing today that would change their business?
Find out where your community is. Look, where do they attend the most? Where is the community showing up, and make yourself available there. We have because of our demographic is quite a bit older, social media is even a hard one because a lot of them aren't using social media. But if they are, they're using Facebook. Get yourself on Facebook, get on there, comment, add them to your page, and comment on their pages, make yourself aware, visible there. And then find out, yeah, where's your community attending? Where we have a First Friday here in our downtown area, and it's huge. That's probably our biggest event. So I have a booth there, and I just mingle and talk and hang out. I'm just there, and I'm visible, and my brand's there. And so they can come and hang out with me and chat with me. And I've lots of people come up and just ask random questions, or they feel so much less pressure because I'm literally in a t-shirt and just relaxing. And they're like, yeah, I can just go chat with her. Like,
you're not in your heels?
no, it's hot, and I don't want to be, it's in the summer, and I don't want to be in heels.
That is such great advice. I coach all the time, get into your community, become somebody that is known in the community, connect yourself with businesses, connect yourself. And then I think you're discussing like client avatar. Took a lot about client avatar. Once you know who you're targeting, then you know how to target them successfully. Amy, I've so enjoyed our conversation. I think oh my gosh, if anyone's looking for an agent, so if you're listening, you need a referral, she's your girl.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Girl. And yeah, and if you want to follow her, she's on she's her own website. The links will be in our podcast bio. And then on Instagram, she's is it real estate agent?
Real estate, like the real estate agent. Like the realist.
I literally read that for the first time going, realist agent. Yes.
Yeah. So that's how I brand myself, as the realist agent.
She's on TikTok that way too. Yeah. Oh man, I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope agents take this and grow. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you on socials. I'm going to follow you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks. Bye.
That's it for this episode of Platinum Agent Podcast. If you're ready to take your business beyond gold and into platinum, let's connect. Reach out to me at this email, Renee@ReneeRuthOfficial.com, and we'll make something happen. Don't forget, hit subscribe, because Joshua and I will be back with more insights. Until then, go